we would love to do that because we have a coding and robotics panel in our 120 Teaching Learning Limited developing the program, and they have already come up with some projects for each and every grade. And I can train people on digital literacy and computing. Allow me to take you through my presentation, which is going to be just built around the idea of helping our learners move from the consumers of technologies to the creators of technologies. So to achieve this, children cannot do it by themselves. They need help. The help of teachers, the help of parents, the help of the policies and our government, the help of everybody. Why does this topic matter here in Rwanda? I have read different books and reports, including the Education Strategic Plan, which is from 2024 to 2029. I also read the Rwanda ICT Sector Strategic Plan, also started in 2024, expected to last for 5 years. And this topic really matters because Rwanda is moving from basic digital literacy into digital innovation. You see, we are digitalizing each and every service. Moreover, children need to do more than use the devices. They need to shift from the consumers of technologies to the creators of technologies. Moreover, this topic matters because coding and robotics builds logic, creativity, teamwork, and problem solving. You really know that we have different kinds of robotics kits. We have Arduino-based robotics kits, we have Lego robotics kits, and more others. Putting them together to come up with a certain demo, a certain prototype, requires a lot of logic, requires to be creative. In most cases, it requires to work as a team, to work with other people to finish the project. So through coding and robotics, we are very sure that the participants or learners will develop and build their logic, creativity, teamwork, and the problem-solving skills. This topic is very important because these skills will help our Rwanda in its journey towards a knowledge-based economy. You know, the Rwanda targets to be a developed country in 2050. So that will be very hard if we do not teach our children to think creatively, logically, and to work as a team to solve problems that affect our communities. And here's a question. Are we really preparing our children to use technology or to create technology? In most cases, we leech on the use of technology and stop. But we really need to think beyond that. We need to help our children understand how computers work, how the computers are created, so that they do not become the consumers of the technologies which are built by others, most especially those countries from West, but also be part of the people who created the technologies that we use. Because when we consume technologies from other countries, in most cases, they are not like aligned with the life we live. They are not aligned with our realities. But if the machines are prepared here, then we are pretty sure that they respond to the problems that we have here. Let me speak to you now in terms of numbers. I refer to the recent Educational Statistical Yearbook. Here, they show that we have 4,822,507 learners in Rwanda's education. And this is 34.2% of Rwanda's population. If you are 14 million, then 4 million, this is 34% of the population. Which means with the teachers in education system, if we put more effort and brace these 4 million, around 5 million learners in education system with the skills that they need to survive in this ever-changing world, then we have braced a very big part of our community. Moreover, in the statistical yearbook of the last year, 40.8% of schools use ICT in teaching and learning. But still, they are still there. They have not yet moved to that part of being the creators of technologies. 26.6% of schools here in Rwanda have smart classrooms, which means they have computers, and those computers are connected to internet, which implies that these schools already have the basics. Moreover, 25.9% of schools have computer laboratories. There is 26 that have smart classrooms, which are very well equipped, and 25.9% that have computer labs equipped with computers. 83.7% of schools have internet connectivity. This is a good one. 11.1% of schools have science laboratories, and 97.6% of schools have at least one computer. As you see, access is improving. But again, practical STEM, robotics, and hands-on innovation spaces remain limited in many schools. When you correct some data, you find out that some do not even have information of what coding and robotics is about. And that's why we have this session today. Now, what does our country envision? In the last Lego League, in the first Lego League and AI Ideathon 2026, I hope you followed this one. His Excellency Paul Kagame said that robotics and artificial intelligence are outstanding ways to learn science, engineering, technology, and also teamwork. The Minister of Education also added that they are going to make sure that all students in Rwanda are actually exposed to AI, science, computers, and robotics, because these are the elements that every single student has to be exposed to as they grow up and enter the workforce. This shows that our big leaders already understand that our learners should move from being the consumers of technologies and enter now as the creators of innovations. And why have I brought this topic? We are in the sixth wave of innovation. The sixth wave of innovation is made of artificial intelligence, robotics, drones, biotechnology, clean technology, and more others. It started in 2020 and it is expected to last for 25 years. Now we are in 2026. 6 years are gone already. And you can see the changes that have happened already. To make you understand this better, before 2020, we were in the fifth wave of innovation of digital network. That's when internet exploded. That's when people started using social media platforms a lot. That's when people started making big sums of money on the internet. That's when we started moving digital. We started using mobile money. Can you compare yourself today, the way you use your money compared to the way you used to use it 5 years ago? That time, you could have your money in pocket. But now, I bet not many of you have touched a coin or a note in the last 6 weeks, in the last week. Why? We have gone digital. because of this fifth wave of innovation, digital network. Now here comes the sixth wave of innovation, artificial intelligence is everywhere. It's changing the way we live, it's changing the way we do work. Now, robotics now they are in. We are making robots to do our automated work, for some work that we used to do, especially those ones which are very risky, we no longer need to do them. We need to make robots which do not get tired, which are very efficient, and which are more productive than human beings because they work tirelessly.
Robotics and artificial intelligence are outstanding ways to learn science, engineering, technology, and also teamwork.
We're going to make sure that all students in Rwanda are actually exposed to AI, to science, to computers, to robotics, because these are the things, these are the elements that every single student are to be exposed to, because they're going to be part and parcel to what you end up doing as you grow up and you go into the work field.
Now, why should kids learn coding? Here are 5 reasons that learners or young children should learn coding and robotics. Number 1, they need problem-solving skills. They need creativity, confidence, collaboration, and future readiness. For me, when I'm talking to students, I ask them why do they wake up every morning going to school? When you ask them such a question, they have various answers, but very few of them will tell you that they go to school to get knowledge and the skills and attitudes that they need to be able to solve the problems of their society. Mainly, we go to school to earn knowledge, skills, and attitudes that we need to solve a certain problem in the community. And that's how we become rich. The bigger the problem, the more money you get. Because for becoming successful in this life, or for becoming rich, it requires you to bring a solution to the community. The more people who need the solution you have brought, the more money you will get, the richer you will become. So, even at your workplace, the amount of money you get corresponds to the problem you solve. If you solve a small problem, you get a little money. If the problem increases, the more money you get. I'll make you understand this. Suppose you are a teacher and your salary is maybe 300,000. Could you imagine if you are able to do the work you do for your school, maybe for 3 schools? If you could do it for 3 schools, it means now you're not solving a problem at 1 school. Now you're solving problems at the 3 schools, which means that also the income will multiply by 3. The more the problem, the bigger the problem, the more money you get. If the solution you're bringing can solve problems for 1,000 people, you'll get more money. If it can solve a problem of 1 or 2 people, then you'll get very little money. So coding and robotics help learners learn to break bigger problems into smaller steps. You give them a project of coming up a weather station robot. They know that they will need to connect kits together. They will know that they will need to do some coding. They cannot do it in just a go. They need to go step by step. What about creativity? Within coding and programming, we do build games, create stories, websites, apps, and robots. When someone creates something, they become confident. They become confident they are valuable or they can do something in the real world. So learners become confident as they complete various projects because they understand that they can do something in the community. Let's go to collaboration. Most projects require to work as a team. Working as a team means that you will communicate. Your communication skills will go up. In a team, you will need a leader. Leadership skills will be developed through that. Coding and robotics also helps students be future ready because we are now in the sixth wave of innovation. These practical skills are very needed. And as the Minister of Education said, this is what we will end up doing in the real life. So robotics makes STEM visible, practical, and exciting. I know you'll find students enjoy these practical lessons than the words we go in class and speak to them. However, there are challenges but also opportunities in our country. The challenge number one, there are limited devices and internet access in some schools. Some schools do not have enough computers or they don't have robotics kits. Some of them don't even know where to find them. Moreover, there is a need for more teacher training. Some teachers don't have a clue of what coding is and programming. We need to do more trainings. Moreover, there is high cost of some robotics kits and lab tools. Some schools fear starting coding and robotics clubs because they are afraid that these tools are expensive. There's still unequal access between urban and rural areas. This one you can also witness it in private school. In urban areas, they have more computers than it is in the villages. That creates unequal access for learners in the villages compared to those in the city. Girls still need stronger encouragement in STEM subjects. That's also a gap. But also there are opportunities. There is like a program like Digital Ambassadors Program, expanding digital skills. These ambassadors are deployed in different sectors to help people with digital literacy, starting from the basics, accessing the services through Rainbow, using mobile money, and more others. School clubs and maker spaces can grow practical learning. If a school buys robotics kits, this can help their students understand mathematics and science very easily. Moreover, there are low-cost tools like Scratch, Mbrock, and the Arduino that can help schools start. These can help us with coding and programming before we even reach to buying robotics kits. Indeed, partnerships can support devices, training, and mentorship. If those that have already started collaborate with those ones which have not yet started, they can partner and share the little devices they have and share the trainings and more. Because here the goal is not perfection at the beginning. The goal is to start and you grow step by step. Here I have proposed a pathway for children to navigate this world of technology. From the age of 5 to 7, this is a primary. They should learn about sequencing patterns and practice coding, simple robots, and more others. We should do projects in Scratch, in Turtle Art, in Pictoblock, Broccoli, VR Code, Tinkercad, and more. And then from the age of 8 to 10, this is upper primary. They move further to advanced Scratch, block coding, animation, stories, simple games tools. by using blocks. These tools are free. Most of them are free, and each and every school can access them. To the lower secondary, they can go even further and start interacting with microcontrollers, with guidance, create even a little bit advanced robots. Then from the age of 14 all the way to universities, they can start learning advanced programming languages like Python, HTML and CSS, C++, and more. They should start learning about web design, making websites, applications, and even more. This is because children need age-appropriate project-based experiences, not hard code. So you cannot take text-based codes to young children in primary. They need block-based. Then as they grow, you introduce them to text-based programming. Which project can you do with your children that are in the context of our country? You can have a project entitled Smart Irrigation Prototype or Smart Irrigation System, whereby I use a few sensors to help watering in the school and home gardens. We made a project like this with my learners when I was still at Bright Angel International School. You can also make waste sorting robot, the one that differentiates a plastic or biodegradable from non-biodegradable waste. You can also think of a project like traffic light simulation to make them understand how the traffic lights work. You can make also hand washing reminder device that alerts them that it's time to go wash hands. They can also do scratch stories and games, animations, and more. They can also learn how to make a school revision app or a chatbot. These are a few of the projects that I have brought here, but there are more. You can even think of more. As I conclude, Rwanda's future will be built by young innovators who can imagine, code, build, and solve. And they will not do it on their own. We, the teachers, have to help them. So we have to take it as a responsibility that we are the ones to help our learners and our fellow teachers shift from being the consumers of technologies to the creators of technologies. I thank you so much, and I'm ready to.
Some percentage of our Rwandan schools who have accessibility to the internet, but we still have a lot of schools who don't have that such access. I would like to know how those little schools can introduce this course of robotic and coding while they are not having access to that internet. Thank you.
Welcome. That is a very good question. There is a big number of schools in the village that do not have access to internet, and some do not have even reliable electricity. That might make it a little bit hard, but not harder, because they can buy robotics kits and then use the small number of computers they have, because computers help with coding. Then you use the kits to like come up with a machine or to shape a certain robot. Then you do the codes on the computer and transfer them to the brain of the robot for it to be able to perform the activities you want it to do. Which means if there is some work they do with computers, like if they do that work, they can arrange themselves to also make the robotics program run. And it doesn't to be perfect at the start. They may get a few kits, or they may do like simple projects so that those children are not left behind. At least when they reach at a place where there is enough resources, they don't find it like it's something new to them, something they are seeing for the first time. Even if you are a teacher and you have a single computer, you can project and give them a chance to interact with it. So that would be like better than just saying that we don't have resources and then you stop there. Thank you. One more person? Yes, please, Mr. Patient. Mr. Patient, on your mic, we can't hear you. Okay. Mr. Emmanuel, you did great. I'm sorry, I'll be using the chat because I'm in a noisy area. I can't use the microphone. Thank you so much for the nice feedback. We're very okay with that, and thank you so much for making it to this webinar. Thank you so much for listening to us. It's always our pleasure to have you here. I would also like to hear feedback from Maureen, Rodica, Josue, Samuel, and Rasubiza. I would like to hear from you. Okay, let's listen to Mr. Irasubiza.
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me?
Correctly.
Okay. This presentation was the the food for thought, and I felt like we still have a debt to contribute to Rwandan education through this contemporary generation. And I would like to ask if it is possible, should we have many more presentations about this about this topic or related ones? Because I can see that it is very important, and it would be better if we try to advance and try to deepen it so that we can better our country.
Correctly. This is very nice. I'm so pleased to hear that from you. By the way, in 120 Teaching and Learning Limited, we have a panel developing a program around this. And I would also support us having so many sessions that discuss this, that goes beyond speaking to you about what we should be doing to practical things. Even if we meet online, there are things we can do. We can do virtual based coding and robotics, so that we get a clue of where to start from. Then for the physical materials, we can be organizing some physical sessions on the holidays when we have time and maybe even enough resources. So I support that. We need to sit down and chat about it. We also look for more experienced robotics and software engineers to help us with the real things. I'm going to share that with my boss, the chairperson. Then we see if in the upcoming sessions we can add more practical coding and robotics sessions.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a pleasure, sir. And Mr. Pastor in the chat is saying that some kids might get distracted by these technology projects. Do we have a plan of integrating ourselves in the current revenue curriculum so that we help kids while making sure they stay committed to classes? Oh, this is a good one. This is already there. If you check out the books, there are units of coding, robotics, and programming. I think I figured out or I learned about picto blocks from the science book of primary. So our education planners are not seated, they are not like sleeping. They also see it. They also see that technology is changing. So they update books every time they manage. So since it is already integrated in the curriculum, however, even if it is integrated, even if the content is there, I'm not pretty sure all teachers have the clue of how to deliver those topics. Or I'm not sure if they have enough resources they have, including the knowledge and skills. That's why, that's why we are here. Because at 120 Teaching and Learning Limited, we offer educational support activities. Whether it's a teacher, whether it's a school, whether it's a student, whether it's a parent, any gap in education, we are ready to come in. So about distraction, I cannot say that practical projects are destructive. Instead, they help develop creativity, logic thinking, and more other skills. Because when you go through it very well, you will figure out that robotics is the practical application of mathematics, physics, and all those other sciences. So this is not something to distract them. It's something to help them understand mathematics and other sciences very correctly. Now I would like to hear from Mr. Emmanuel. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we are just together here. I'm just sorry. I'm very sorry for being late. I'm very sorry for being late, but according to what I had at the time I lived here, for sure this topic was really amazing and interesting and also attractive. But I see some complications about this because even we educators who can go and train these kids, these are children from the schools, our schools that we are now operating there. That's also a problem since we are not capable of doing those robotics and those programming and whatever that you've discussed and coding. So I see that there is still some problems and complications for us as Rwandans, especially teachers who are operating there, and also even children. I don't know how they can benefit. Even if you can have someone who can, like a kid who is interested in coding or robotics or programming, that will be so challenging to someone who will be helping that kid. Yet the educator, the educator, the teacher, is not also capable of coding or interpreting those symbols and whatever. That will also be another issue. But I suggest we people who are here, we got lucky that we have this platform, one-to-one teaching and learning. I suggested that these people are just very capable of that. To me, these engineers, as Mr. Emmanuel has said, I suggest that they can help us to know that, just like a notion, giving us a notion, if it is just possible. That's all I can simply say about this topic. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. And I would like to let you know that coding is no longer something very hard since we have artificial intelligence. One, there is what we call block-based programming. That's what we start with, either for the beginners or for young children. Then, as you understand how block-based programming works, that's when now you shift and move to text-based programming, those codes you've been talking about. So it is step by step. So we will take you through that journey, especially those who will be attending the upcoming sessions. I will make sure that more of the sessions remaining will tackle this aspect, since it's like the future. Our future depends on this. So for us, we have in our circle, we have a big number of experts who can help out with that. So we'll keeping see the possible ways to support you around that. And for those who are seeking for maybe extra support or individual support, we do that. Because physically in Kimirongo we have an office. We are currently teaching digital research and computing, then English and German. We have clients, different clients for those services. We serve them on weekends. Like today, I attended this webinar after serving some of the clients. So you can come as a client, or even like you can like decide to pay for yourself. We train you. Even schools might also want to pay, and we train them as schools. You might even be here for these free webinars to gain knowledge and skills free of charge. So I'm pretty sure together we shall do a lot. Thank you so much. Now we can hear from Maureen. I see she's ready to speak to us.
Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel.
You're welcome.
We appreciate your presentation. It was really detailed. I loved it. Yes, I also came in early. My apologies. I came in when you're on the slide 5, but I picked some leaf through your other slides. So my request is like for Imani Shimwe, who says most educators are not aware of these skills. The other request would be like you formulate like a syllabus, let's say for lower class, like the way you had presented it in your slides. It would really help us to improve on our skills to be able to teach our learners. Then the other thing I would want to know if you if we could get people to come and train our teachers where I work from, because my directors really like it, because that's why we're also moving and most teachers are not aware. Maybe we'll talk more, but we really need trainers in it. Thank you.
That is a very amazing feedback, and thank you for coming. You came on the slide 5. That's very good. I'm so pleased you came. And for you, I think you already know. We have people from even outside our country, but who are based here in Rwanda, who did coding and robotics from their young age. So for them, they started it in primary, and now they are in universities. So they understand these topics very well. I also didn't have these skills 2 years ago. No, I learned about them, especially more of them starting with this year, because that's when I got a circle of people who have skills of coding and robotics. And then I said, since it's the future, then let me put more efforts in it. Let me share this gospel, this good news to my fellow teachers in this country, so that we also play our part to ensure that our young brothers and sisters are not left behind in the world of creating technologies, not consuming them only. And about training your school, maybe I'll be waiting for you to tell me about it. We would love to do that, because we have a coding and robotics panel in our 120 Teaching Learning Limited developing the program, and they have already come up with some projects for each and every grade, and the possible way to make it practical and running. And for your information, with any amount of money you have, you can start coding the robotics program. even if it is $50. Because recently there's a project we submitted to UNICEF. It's a weather station robot and a smart irrigation system. They're just two robots, and we spent like $70 on those two robots, and we submitted it to UNICEF for a grant that is worth 100,000 US dollars. That's above 100 million Rwandan francs. If they like the project and they invest in it, then we shall move from prototype to the real robot. So this is something you're not going to do for the sake of learning. This is something that you might come up with, and you get an investor to give you big sums of money. I will give you another practical example. One of my people in my circle came up with a device that will be putting in these vehicles, so that when an accident happens, the device sends notification to the police and to RBC, so that the RBC sends the ambulance, so that the police goes to check out how the accident happened. The same device has the GPS, whereby if you give me your vehicle, you are able to control on a computer or on the phone where your car is, which means your car or your motor is, which means there's no more stealing of vehicles because of that device. So the Ministry of Health and have already accepted to help them pilot and see how that device will help. And with that project, they have already won 85,000 US dollars. In the first competition, they won 5,000 US dollars. In the second one, they won 50. Microsoft gave them 50,000 US dollars. That is, in another one, they won 30,000 US dollars. So to me, those ones have already bypassed the line of poverty. And the young people like us, less than 30 years old. So do not say that you don't have skills. You do not have any excuse. Because if you do not know maybe coding and programming, putting robotics kits together is very easy. There are learning resources like YouTube. These social media platforms we visit, we should shift from watching comedies and other things and move to something that changes the way we teach, changes the way we think, and I'm becoming talkative. I'm sorry, it's time. We have 1 minute. Let's hear from one last person and then go to the end. I would love to hear from Mediatrice or Josue. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Hello to everyone. I hope you are all doing good. I am also doing good. Thank you for this session. These sessions are very crucial in our teaching or in our everyday activities with the learners and children. It's very helpful. Thank you.